Meeting to order. Thank you all for being here. And, oh, I forgot. Jerry, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve? All right, Dr. Odiorn and Governing Board Member Walker. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. We are at item number 4, call to the public. And, oh, we have, okay, very good. We have none, so we will move on to action items and consideration of the consent agenda. Excuse me, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you so much. All right, item number 6 is CFO designation resolution. Mr. Wadka.
Thank you. Is it working? Now it is. Thank you, and good afternoon, Madam Chair, governing board members, Madam President, admin assistant, and all colleagues and guests today. Number 6 action item is the CFO designation resolution. This is something that we do on a yearly basis. It is based on Arizona revised statutes, and basically it is just the CFO designation, which proposes, the recommendation is to designate me as the Chief Financial Officer officially for state purposes. So the forms are attached, we just complete it and send it off to the state. Yearly occurrence that we do.
Right, well, I noticed there are 3 different resolutions. Can we
Yes.
approve them as a group, or do we need to do them individually?
That is a good question. I
Well-
don't think it'd be a problem in approving them as one, but
As a group, all right. There's as Mr. Wadka has described, this is an annual action item. There are 3 resolutions. It's Resolution 2023-1, Resolution 2023-2, and Resolution 2023-3 that designates Mr. Wadka as the college's official chief fiscal officer for all the statewide expenditures and for the Auditor General. So is there a motion to approve Mr. Wadka as the designee for the Pinal County Community College District? All right, Mr. Walker, thank you. Is there a second? Second. All right, Ms. Christensen, been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
You're the man. Right. Now we have a series of reports, and the first one being Dr. David Odiorn as an assignment and as leading a task force of the board regarding our own board self-evaluation process. Update.
Thank you. As you know, Evelyn appointed a committee at my suggestion to look at the board's self-evaluation process. It's something that's been done annually historically. And we are looking at it to see if it can be improved and optimized. We're pretty well along on that process. We don't have a recommendation today, but I did want to bring you just kind of a status update as to where we are and what our thinking is, in part to get any feedback from other board members who aren't on the committee that might have some thoughts that we could incorporate, and also just to prepare you for the fact that we will come to you with a recommendation next month for implementation. So the purpose of doing a self-evaluation is Well, I suppose the first thing you think of is we ought to be able to look at ourselves and say, well, we're doing a good job or we're not doing a good job. And that's true, of course. And we've kind of done that in the past, but it has sort of stopped there. We have completed self-evaluations, and that's good because we certainly ought to know how well we're doing, and we ought to be able to share that with various entities. Our accrediting agencies sometimes want to know how the board's doing. And certainly the people of Pinell County ought to be aware, or at least be able to become aware if they're interested, of how the board's doing. And our internal constituencies within the college ought to know if we're serving you to the best of our ability. That's the evaluation part, but it's really just the first step, or should be, because much more importantly is, as part of the evaluation, to look for opportunities to become better at what we do. So it should serve as part of a board development process. And so we're looking for a process that will serve all of that. You have to start with setting some sort of a standard to measure ourselves against. And we felt that it didn't make a lot of sense for the committee or even the board to develop a new standard. There are standards available to us. And we felt that the most appropriate one would be the Higher Learning Commission's standard 2C, I think it is, on which deals with board issues and performance of the board. So we are basing our process on that standard rather than reinventing the wheel. We already have to be able to demonstrate to the Higher Learning Commission that we're meeting that standard, and doing an evaluation internally based on that standard will certainly help when the college is writing self-studies and responding to communications from the HLC. So that helps. And we want to build into this process excuse me, not only a valid instrument for evaluation, but also a valid process for talking about the results. So we expect to come to you next month with a new instrument. It's not all that different, except that instead of what we've used in the past, which was basically a series of questions that we rated on a scale of 1 to 5, we'll still be rating ourselves on a scale of 1 to 5, but this time it will be based on a rubric. Similar items, similar scale, but this time the various points on the scale are defined so that we're all talking the same language. And when we rate ourselves, we know what we're intending to say by that rating. So that instrument will be there. We'll also develop a set of instructions because anything you do once a year, you forget how to do. And so we'll have some written instructions for board members as to how to approach it. We'll also include some suggestions for examples of evidence that you might look at or think about when you're trying to figure out how to score any particular item. Some things might be based on board minutes or board policies or other things, but we're going to look at which kinds of things are most appropriate for each item and make suggestions to make it easier to use. We'll also outline a process for how that data gets analyzed, and finally a process for board discussion and goal setting based on it. We're thinking tentatively that final piece is perhaps something that might be done at the December retreat. We like that timing because as board members turn over, typically board terms end in December and new terms start in January. So by doing it in December, we're able to capture the input from perhaps longer-term board members who are going off. We're able to get their input before they leave. And also, we're not asking somebody who just came on in January to try to evaluate the board before they've been here long enough to figure out where the bathrooms are. So we like that. That's likely to be part of the recommendation. And finally, we're kicking it around, but we are very likely going to recommend that the board obtain outside assistance in the analysis and goal-setting process. That is typically done by boards. There are a number of organizations and people that are qualified to do that, to come in and help facilitate that conversation. Sometimes when you just sit around and stare at your own navel, it's not as instructive as if you bring in somebody else to help you do that. And so that's likely to be part of it. I think the only other thing I didn't mention is, in addition to that rubric, which, by the way, there's a copy of it in your board packet today, a draft anyway, we'll probably also have 2 or 3 open-ended items that could be responded to in narrative, so that we'll give board members an opportunity to provide their thinking about anything we might not have included in the rubric. So that's where we are. I'd be happy to answer any questions or hear any feedback anybody might have. And otherwise, expect that to come back a bit fleshed out and finalized for a recommendation for next month.
Right, Dr. Odiorn, great update and great work being done, and for all the reasons as you stated, process improvement is what we should all be striving for, and you're certainly setting us on the course to do that with this effort. Do any of the board members have any immediate comments before a final report? And we can also give you feedback, I'm sure, even beyond today, even during the process.
Yeah, we're not permitted, obviously, to have backdoor conversations because of open meeting laws, but it is appropriate if an individual board member has a comment on any of this over the next month and wants to send an email just to me as committee chair that I can take to the committee for our consideration. That would be okay. So that option is available.
All right. Any other questions, comments for Dr. Odiorn and the committee? And I think one of your staff team members is President Dustin Maroney is here, who's helping.
Hiding behind.
He's hiding.
Yes. Dustin has been a big part of this so far, and really appreciate his input. I didn't see you there, Dustin. I'm sorry to mention you.
Yeah. Oh, Gladys? Sorry.
Do we have somebody in mind who can facilitate? That would be at our retreat in December, that we would have that person.
Yeah, we've got information on a number of different people.
Okay.
And that would be a decision, that doesn't have to be part of the recommendation, because what we're setting up is an ongoing process. But if we do want to use somebody in December, we'll have to make that choice. So we'll perhaps bring some options separate from the process. We'll probably bring some suggestions to the board about who that might be.
All right. Also, was that part of the thing that we just applied for through?
It could be.
It could be, right?
The American Association of Community College Trustees is running a promotion, a contest, whatever, which we have entered. And should we win, we get a complimentary workshop from them, which is fairly expensive. But if we were to win that, that would be one way we could put that to use, would be to help us with this process. They are one of the bodies that routinely does this.
Right. Great. Any other questions?
Not right now.
All right. Very good. Thank you so much for all the work you're putting into this, and we look forward to your recommendation in September.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, next on the agenda, report from Dr. Elliott, district update, among other things.
Good afternoon, governing board members, President Kasuga, faculty, staff, and visitors. A couple things to update on the district is I'm happy to report that enrollment for fall is trending higher than this time last year, with about 800 additional learners enrolled. So that's a positive trend for us as an institution. Support education and employment for vets, or in other words, we call it CVETs, recently provided us a $7,600 donation for the Stars and Stripes Scholarship. We also received notice earlier this week of another $3,000 in donation to help veterans. So there's great interest in the community in ensuring that our vets are able to achieve higher learning and education. And finally, I am so excited and happy to announce that Mary Lou has been selected as the Association of Community College Trustees Pacific Region Awardee for board support staff. She will be recognized on Friday, October 28th at the annual conference. And there are 4 regions, I think it's 4 regions, and in that evening we will find out if she wins for the whole organization. So congratulations, Mary Lou. Very well deserved. And that is the end of my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Dr. Elliott? All right, good job. All good news on that front. Excellent, excellent. All right, business affairs. Mr. Watka, you're up again, and you have several items.
Thank you, and congratulations, Mary Lou. 3 items: our monthly budget, our bids, and then we have a presentation on athletics this afternoon. So first on the monthly budget, this reflects now the entire fiscal year, June 22 compared to June of a year ago. And I'm happy to report that our expenditures are about 88.24% compared to 87.11 last year. This is a trend now that we have seen over the last handful of years where the budget has been underspent to some extent. You know, part of that is one of the board's goals in being fiscally responsible. But it is also important to note that these are unaudited numbers. They're just, we just completed the month of June, and before they're audited, there will be some audit adjustments, obviously, that could be reflected in that percentage, either higher or lower, but never to any great extent. So where we are reporting today is pretty much of where it will align once the fiscal year is completed and audited. The second item is the awarded bids over 20,000, and there are 22 items in your board packet with descriptions on them. I would be happy to answer any questions on any of the bids and or the budget report.
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Odiorn.
I did have a question on the budget, just curiosity more than anything else. I noticed that salaries were at 95% roughly, benefits roughly 81%. I would have expected those to be roughly the same.
Right.
Why are they not?
Some of the benefits actually go on an accrual basis, and once the year end is over, it'll get more in line.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, if not, you've got another item on the agenda.
I do, and happy to report, as you all know, I hope I took over athletics just a few months ago, and a lot of things going on in the athletic department, and it's something I think we need to celebrate and something I would like to bring on a frequent basis to the board to celebrate our accomplishments. So at this time, I'd like to call up Shelby Davis, who is the athletic director, and she's going to talk about some of the sports programs and introduce the coaches.
All right, excellent.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shelby Davis. This is my first year as athletic director here at CAC, former alumni here as a student athlete as well. Today we're going to have a video that Julie put together for us highlighting all the accomplishments of the year, the large number of academic All-Americans we had named, baseball national champions, who else? Rodeo had a couple Rookie of the Year awards, and we also had track and field had 2 national champions. So I'm going to call up the coaches. First, I have Anthony Gillich with baseball.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys having us in the board meeting today and recognizing the accomplishments. It's certainly a lot of work that all the teams put in, and appreciate everybody recognizing us.
Coach Andrew Wood with track and field.
Good afternoon, board. Appreciate you taking the time to celebrate athletics with us. I think it's important for you guys to see all the hard work that the student athletes do on campus, as well as celebrate what we do. So I appreciate you all taking the time to celebrate with us.
And we have rodeo co-head coaches, Skyla Teal and Joe Moody.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. We want to echo what the other coaches said as well, and I tried to say it in the video too, but we couldn't operate at the level of our team without the support of this school. So we try and convey that in all of our social media posts and with our team itself, but it is nice to have the opportunity to tell all of you thank you. We were awarded some more scholarship money this year, just everything that you've done to support us. And our administration as well. Like, it almost makes me emotional because our team has grown so much in the last decade that it's a force to be reckoned with, and we're pretty proud of wearing our CAC colors. So thank you for everything.
Thank you, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. All the coaches kind of helped with their input on this, and we obviously thank Julie for her time putting this together for us.
Right. Well, on behalf of the board, coaches, and your whole team and the whole department, we are so proud of you and what you do for Central Arizona College, and appreciate the teams and all the effort and we're going to go find out, right, all the accomplishments this last year. So we'll look forward to this, and thank you so much from all of us.
Blast to right center field. He's in the record books with his 6th home record books, with his 6th home run of the tournament. And the Vaqueros are on the board. It's 3-2 here in the 5th.
Winning at CAC is more than just an expectation. It is a tradition.
I mean, it's something they're never going to forget the rest of their lives. I mean, it's to be the best in the country at anything is impressive. And so, I mean, that's just a moment that they're going to remember for the rest of their life.
Over this summer, our team had the opportunity to compete at the College National Finals Rodeo in Casper, Wyoming. We took 11 of our approximately 50-person team to the finals. Our men's team fared really well, ending 9th in the nation. We had some individual highlights with some of our team ropers and all-around students. We brought 2 of our women's team members who competed very fiercely up there and really made our entire team proud.
This past summer, we had the women's team did exceptionally well at the national championships in Hutchinson, Kansas. We had 2 outstanding performances from the women's team. Princess Caro ended up winning the discus with a new national record, and then Giovanna Cornett, she ended up winning the 100 meters.
So our rodeo teams are a bit different than the other athletic teams we have here at CAC. Our cowboys and cowgirls come from all across the world and the United States, as the other teams do, but the majority of ours also come with livestock. So we have 60 stalls set up on campus to house the horses of our rodeo team. And this year our team is shaping up to be so big, we actually needed to put up an extra 30. So that comes with additional challenges. Our student athletes have responsibilities that are a little bit different than a typical student athlete. They're responsible for the care and upkeep of their horses, of our facility, keeping it clean and orderly, and also competing well in the arena while maintaining an excellent GPA.
I believe the victories in Hutchinson, Kansas this past summer pretty much solidified the hard work and dedication that the students put in for the entire school year.
Our program has really grown, and that is largely due to the support that we receive from our school and our community.
We operate in excellence.
All right, thank you for being here and presenting to us today. And please give our thank yous and kudos to your team as well, teams all as well. All right, thank you so much. Okay, next we have Student Services Project Report from Dr. Cardenas.
All right, so President Kasuga, Governing Board, Dr. Elliott, colleagues and guests, thank you for having us here today. So today I have 3 people with me that are going to present, and I'm going to kick it off, but I do want to, before we get started, introduce Andrew Long, who is our Dean of Enrollment Services, and Nicole Costales is our Director for Title V. If you recall, she presented to us a few months ago, and then Derek Shank, who is our Director for Academic Advising. So thank you all for having us here today. I will get started with, if we can go to the next slide. I don't know if there's a clicker. There we go. So for student services, we really focused this summer on training, on planning, and celebrating as we prepared for the fall semester. So although we do have a project that we're going to share with you today that's a little farther along in the process, much of what we did this summer was really helping us to focus on identifying goals for each of the departments, identifying their key performance indicators, focusing on equity work, and then developing WIGs for each individual department that they will focus on for the year. And we went into a retreat in July. We had almost 90 of our staff from student services that attended a full-day retreat. And the theme really was around the cacti and the symbol of strength and endurance, and really the ability to adapt to any kind of situation. And we've seen that our staff and faculty have really, and students have really been able to do that over the course of the last couple of years. So it was an exciting time. I think we're going into the semester with lots of positive changes and hope for the future for some really great things. So to get us started, if we can go on to the next slide, I will have Andy Long come up and begin the presentation. Oh, I will take that back. Nicole Costales is first.
Yes, good afternoon. Andy and I arm wrestled, so I won because I get to go first. So just as a reminder, a recap about Guided Pathways, it's a national movement to redesign the student experience, to remove barriers, and help students reach their goals. And this is all backed on research and data that says higher education, we can do better for our students and our communities. So simplistically, Guided Pathways is divided into 4 pillars that are, it's an easy to follow model. The 4 pillars are clarify the pathways to end goals. The second is help students choose and enter a path. The third is help students stay on the path. And the fourth is ensure students are learning. As we discussed a few minutes ago or in previous meetings, we talked about the mapping, the areas of interest that really help set us up on our journey. Now that we have the pathways, how do we help students on pillar number 2, choose and enter their path? So this is part of the advising redesign we're going to share today in onboarding. Andy and I are going to share a bit about entering the path, and Derek is going to share how we are transforming advising and helping students stay on the path, as well as just thank a couple people we brought with us today. So some of the things that we're doing to help students choose their path, there's 3 things that we've done. The first is the My Majors assessment. This is a National Science Foundation-backed program that aligns with CAC's areas of interest so a student can go in and complete this. It helps our prospective and current students start their plans and provides us additional information to prove retention and completion rates. We have an intake form to get to know the students. So they fill out a little bit of intake form. They do a brief interest assessment, and that aligns them with all of our programs. So they get to see in order kind of based on their interests, skills, and abilities, what program CAC has to offer that aligns with their interest. Because, coming in, students don't always know what they want to do. And sometimes they know, but they don't know what it's called. So this kind of takes things that they do know and aligns it with what we call it at our institution. So it not only helps students find out more about CAC, but it helps us find out more about the students. So we ask them questions as well. And I can give you an example. We have those nice esports room. So we ask students who are interested in esports. Well, Travaris can get a report says, these students are interested in esports, and he can reach out to them directly and say, hey, do you know we have this great room? So it's starting to build those relationships to help with retention and completion. So My Majors went live in August 2020, and so far, 5,114 people, as of yesterday, have accessed My Majors. Out of that, 85% have completed it from start to finish. Anyone can go to our website to do it, so there's no barriers. They don't have to put any codes. It's just out there. And we have a lot of follow-up with the students that are completing these as well. So that's one of the things to help students get on the path and learn about their path. So the next is the strong interest inventory. And we know that a lot of people come in undecided and they really don't know what they do. So this is a deeper dive to help students find out more about themselves. And then they work with a certified practitioner. So all of our advisors are certified practitioners. This assessment, I mean, anywhere else you would pay $20, $25. We do this absolutely free for our students. They can sign up. And even if they're not undecided, if they want to do it, we're here to help the students and they can absolutely do this. And then they will have a one-on-one appointment with an advisor and they will learn more about the assessment and what it means for their career plan and also give them other alternatives that they had no idea. You know, sometimes they didn't realize what a biology major could get you. And so they said, oh my gosh, there's all these hundreds of other careers that you can do in biology. So this is really a helpful tool to help students learn. And it also connects them with the institution. You know, they have that plan, that goal to help retain these students and keep them on their path. And the last real big thing that we did for the advising redesign is the appreciative advising model. So appreciative advising is a positive way to increase retention and student success rates. The model was based on the developmental theory of appreciative inquiry and positive psychology literature. It's a framework that our advisors can use to increase student success. So they went through a 4-day training with appreciative advising, and there's 6 phases that they learned. You know, and it's make a positive first impression, learn about the student. And then there's the dream phase, the design phase, which is where we go over the plan. So these are 3 really great opportunities that our advisors have to work with our students and help connect them to the institution, learn more about the students, and hopefully, at the end of the day, increase our retention and completion rates. So I'm going to turn it over to, I think Andy goes next.
I think so.
So take it over, Andy.
Appreciate it. You know, along with the tools we had with the advisors, you know, we knew one of the first key points on getting the right path is getting through all the processes to be ready to go for college. And so one thing we implemented this summer, do I have to control this? Okay. One of the things we implemented this summer was we called it our Summer Registration Roadshow. And so, you know, throughout the campus, with our different campuses, we have more advisors here than we do at Santana or Maricopa. We have extra financial aid staff there. So throughout the summer, we had different days where we advertised to our incoming students that we're bringing extra staff to each of the campuses throughout the district. Because we kind of went from everybody doing everything in person to everybody doing everything virtual. And so we had a combination where students really had the option of doing both this summer. So students were attending the Santana campus. They came there. They met with an advisor. A member of the registration staff walked them through the student portal and showed them the online tools over there. That's what they came to do, but then when we had them, we made them talk to financial aid to figure out how they're gonna pay for college. We gave them a little campus tour, and we showed them the resources the library had. We showed them where the Learning Center was at. And even the students who were just taking online classes, they had to go there to take proctored tests. And sometimes the most difficult step for students to a library or Learning Center is that first step of going in the door. So when they met the people in the summer, back in July and June, we knew it was going to be easier for them to access those services when they came up this fall here. So we got them in with the trick to register for classes, and then we showed them all the support and resources available while they were here there. You know, along with that, thanks to the work of the Title V team, at each step of the pathway, we have checklists that we're using with students. So when we first run into a prospect, we give them a checklist that says, apply, start the FAFSA, submit your residency documents. That's the information they need at that point. Once they get admitted, we say, here's how you apply, here's how you get set for your advising appointment. And then the advisor has a checklist what they go through. After you meet with the advisor, we got a checklist that says, here's everything you have to do to make sure you're ready to go for the fall. Because we know if they can take care of all the processes, if they can be aware of all the resources we have, when they hit the first day of class, they're just worried about the class, which can make a huge difference. So along with that, once they get going here, one of our next big initiatives that we're just implementing right now is our success coaches. And we have our director advisor, Derek Schenk, come up to talk about that.
Hello, President Kasuga, board, President Elliott. So if we can move the slide, thank you. So one of the things I wanted to do is, Nicole went over a lot. One of the things I wanted to do is thank Title V for the Appreciative Advising Institute. I think we do some things at this institution that other institutions might not have the ability to do sometimes, because the Appreciative Advising Institute, it was a virtual one. So everybody was here on the campus from like 9 to, I believe it was 2 or 1, it was 3 or 4 or 5 hours a day to do the Appreciative Advising model that Nicole went over. that it's really kind of a philosophy of advising and also a process. So with regard to a lot of what we've talked about, the guided pathways, it fits great in there because it's the idea that you disarm the individual. So how do you like welcome an individual to the college? And then you discover about what are their resources, what do they have to help them get through the college, and what are their obstacles? And then you kind of dream about, what do I want to do? Do I really want to be a medical assistant, or do I want to be a nurse? And those are a lot of the tools that Nicole brought forward. And then we designed their program, which was kind of clarifying the path, which is in the beginning, is that we have these pathways that are very clear and that we don't get caught in the trap of wasted credits or things like some other states have said. If you take a class that's not on your pathway, you're going to have to pay for it outside of your financial aid. And then we deliver, and then we don't settle. So that's part of, I see kind of with the redesign, the academic success coaches, while we would do all of those, we had a competitive search with the internal academic advisors to see who could get promoted basically to be the academic success coaches. So there was a process. So far we've got Jeanette Verduzco, Diana Davis, and Laura Shepard have been promoted. We're waiting for one more. And what they're going to do is they'll be more closely aligned in a case management model to those students once they get into the college. So with those, you're kind of looking at the delivering and the don't settle and making sure that the students are in it because they're embedded into what the students are studying. So they're going to work closely with the departments to know of any changes and all of that, whereas the upfront advisors are going to do more of the onboarding and helping make sure that students have their financial aid in order, that they've enrolled in the correct program, because our system is so dependent on them being in the correct program to work with the degree audits and things like that. It's very important that they know that and that they've done a lot of these assessments. So the My Majors, like I said, the students do that before they even come, but the strong might be the second line where the coaches are really helping interpret those for the students. So like we have up there, the first appointment, they're going to meet with the general advisor. But then in Nexus, once they're enrolled and scheduled in a class, it's going to kick in and it's going to have on their portal, ideally, who their success coach is. And so those will be a variety of people because they're not necessarily all the employees that work with me. We also have department chairs that advise their own students, which is actually great because the whole point of this is kind of academic integration with the student. So the more a student is academically and socially integrated to the college, and academic is actually slightly more, they're more likely to finish their program. So once the classes begin, the Nexus kicks in, and then we have a sample model in that our current coordinator, I want to call her academic success, it's Carrie McIntyre. And Carrie McIntyre has been here, I want to say 7 years. Has it been longer than that? Yeah, she was originally in a different Title V grant where it was dedicated to STEM. And so with her, once her grant was over, she became an advisor. We kept it on as a STEM advisor, but it really was a model for what these people will become. And then she decided to hop over to the Title V. And then we had Diana Davis, who came out of a great program that we have, TRIO, that I hope you're all familiar with, to become the STEM advisor. And then when she did the interview, she's now going to be the STEM advisor, which encompasses 2 of our areas of interest, which is the physical, biological sciences and agriculture, and then the computer technology, engineering, and math. And that's going to be a unique position, and it's always been a unique position, because I don't think we can necessarily house right now the coaches in the areas where they're actually advising. But Diana is actually housed in the science building, and the idea of that is she's close to the division chair actually for that division's on another campus, but she's close to the faculty. She goes to the division meetings and all of that. So it's the idea that they're also going to help the onboarding advisors by being really a little bit more of a specialist, and that they'll help the general advisors know what to be aware of when a student is coming into that particular program. And so right now we've actually had 2 success coaches through the Title V grant. And so Elizabeth Pomeroy, who's not here, but we also have Amanda Fortier, who's worked on grants too, like throughout her life here. Also, so she's been in several grants and then has ended up on this one. So ideally, this will help with the wraparound services. I don't want to necessarily compare it to a university model in that if you've been to university, a lot of times the advisors fall within the academic departments, which is great because they're very, very close. But we also have the wraparound services here where our coaches are going to be able to connect the students to the actual other resources that are on campus when the students do it. They'll be doing much more of the checking up through the semester. So historically, we haven't had successful early alert programs, but ideally we're going to have those where it's the same person following up. And so they're not wondering, why is this advisor calling me when I always deal with this person? So that consistency hopefully gets them through the exit and graduating and either getting the job or moving on to the university. So, okay. Any questions? I'm good. Okay.
Thank you. And I think this kind of, first, thank you to the group who came and presented today. And I think, the other part to this is we've been talking about engagement as a whole at the college, and student services as a whole is looking at, we know that we have the processes. We know that we have made many efforts to remove barriers and provide more access for students to come to CAC. The next component that we're really focusing on over this next year is the connection part. And I think what Derek and Nicole and Andy have talked about is what are ways that we can, once we know that they have had access to the college and they've said, hey, I'm interested, I want to be a part of the college, then how do we connect them to a specific program? So both with what we're seeing with the academic success coaches and being integrated in with the different pathways and academic departments, we also, in our student engagement office, Travaris is working to identify which students do we have that aren't connected through living in our residence halls or in specific cohort type programs or in athletics or student, NSLS or TRIO or something like that. Who are the students that aren't connected? What do they potentially have in common? And what can we offer to help to connect them to the college as a whole? So that's a focus over this next year that I think will really complement the work that we're seeing in advising. So are there any questions for anyone or? Else? No. Otherwise, we are done.
You're done, but your work is just beginning.
Yeah, our work is just beginning. This presentation is done.
Yeah.
And I realized that my higher shoes are in my office. I'm like, why can I not see over this thing? So.
Yeah, no, great job.
Thank you, all of you.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation and update to see how it's all coming together the way it is. And we look forward to, just the outcomes for the work that you all are putting into this. So thank you for that. Okay. Next item on the agenda is an executive session, and there are no other agenda items after that. So for those of you who are not going to stay, I think you can consider yourselves off the hook for the rest of this meeting today and can be excused. And may I have a motion to go into executive session? All right, that was Mr. Walker and Dr. Odiorn. Any discussion? If hearing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. We're going into executive session. Thank you all for being here today. You guys ready? All right, we have exited executive session. We're back into our regular agenda, and the only item on the agenda is adjourned, so I'm just going to declare that this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you. Maricopa meeting next, yes, September 20th, Maricopa campus. All right, don't get lost.